Hello everyone, NoctM0 here, and I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, but it's time for another game jam. Nothing too major, well, kinda. You see, since Absolver is coming out in a week's time, a little bit less now, really, I thought, well, let me go back and do this. And I'm like thinking, you know what? I wanted to do a new segment on how to do game jams, and I want to just do multiple games at once. And I thought, well, what games do I like lately? Devolver Digital is involved with Absolver, so I thought, well, let me do a few of those games because everywhere I go, no one seems to know that these guys exist or even what games that I'm going to talk about. It's quite surprising, really. So, without much further ado, here's my list on Devolver Digital games that you guys should definitely try. It's not going to be like a top 10 list or some bullshit. It's just going to be something that, like, I want to get the word out. Devolver Digital is a good company. I know it's a publishing company, not so much different like Atlas, where Atlas releases a bunch of Shin Megami Tensei games. So, yeah, definitely give these guys a look to see, because they make some of the best gore-tastic games possible while still keeping with the retro feel, hence the theme for this episode. First game on the list, Mother Russia Bleeds. Obviously made on the Unity engine. Mother Russia Bleeds is pretty much a side-scrolling beat-em-up, much in the same vein as Streets of Rage, so any of us old-school gamers back then would actually feel right at home with this. Now, it's not as, I don't know, I guess fluid as Streets of Rage, but it's still pretty fun, no less. Not as many moves, but I've only played just bits of this game. It's a multiplayer game. I don't have really many people to play this one. So I definitely do recommend this title for other people to play. It's good couch co-op. I think there's online play. I think. I'm not sure. But I do know it's couch co-op. Graphically, it looks pretty good. They really do beat you over the head with how they got the 8-bitness going. I can't call it 32-bit because there's just too many little pixels in this. Still, fights well, plays well. I don't expect anything less from Devolver Digital. This game right here just proves that Devolver can release such good content and knowing talent from different companies to help make their games possible. This one I don't believe was free on PlayStation Plus when I got it, but it's fine. Definitely worth the money. As you can see with some of the combat that's going on in the game, I mean, it's pretty crazy shit. Mostly, like, the sprites, though nude, they still... it's not like anything gets censored or some shit, but I mean, the game's pretty straightforward. Really, it's overly violent with the combat, the way you charge up your character, and just like you can decapitate him with one punch. You can use your injector thingy to either heal yourself, power yourself up, or take whatever their blood to refill the injector. It's actually pretty cool. Really a hyper-violent game. I enjoy it. I definitely recommend this one. Alright, so to keep up with the violence, this is another game called Not a Hero. Plot's really weird, but it's about some purple rabbit from the future, I guess, trying to, I don't know, sort things in the past. I really didn't pay attention to the plot. In fact, when I first heard about it, I thought the idea was kind of dumb. But this one was one of the PS Plus games that was released, I don't remember, I think it was maybe last year, or maybe beginning of this year, I don't really remember. But I started playing it, and I thought, holy shit, this game is actually freaking awesome. It makes me think of old school John Woo movies in terms of how the gameplay is, because you're doing a lot of gun diving, you're fighting from different corridors against a bunch of enemies with a bunch of guns. You gotta be smart in how you attack, and each character has their own different set of weapons and how they use them. Like in this character you see right here, he's just wielding the shotgun. His name is Cletus, I believe. And it's actually not a bad game. I kept thinking, why was I passing on this? Why didn't I drop money on this one? Because I like showing my support to the devs. But still, PS Plus game, can't go wrong with free. Definitely something worth checking out. Honestly, I still have a few friends who play this already, so not a bad game. But of course, there's a bunch of little things and stuff about the game that kind of bug me. I mean, I feel a little limited what I can do. I wish I had like some kind of knife attack or whatever. But still, like you can stun an enemy and do a finisher to blow off their head or something. Um, Different variety of grenades and ammunition pickups that you find. So it plays like a pretty fun side scroller, but of course with a unique twist with the gunplay and all that. Really fun. Really do recommend this title right here. Honestly, Devolver Digital makes some great stuff, and this is just a good example of really good, talented people making some really good indie games. Indie games are just amazing now. They're better than what they were 10 years ago, honestly. Alright, now next on to the next one. This one actually caught me by surprise when I first heard about it. Broforce. I remember it only being exclusively on PC for a little while, and then out of nowhere it came onto console, and I believe it became a PlayStation Plus exclusive game last year. I got it, didn't play it at first. Then when I finally did give it a chance, I was like, holy shit. And I told my buddies about it. They bought it, and pretty much it's just nothing but like if the Expendables made a better version of their video game. I mean, the game wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. Um, yeah, this would be that game, and this game just gets away with so much shit, like the fact that every character has bro in the name. So, like, you got Brochetti, or you got Agent J, but I forget the name. They got Indiana Jones type character. They have Commando or Bromando, Brobocop, the Brominator, just a number of bros. I haven't unlocked them all, but I know I've gotten a good amount of bros. Because this game, like, I think of it like as Terraria with how the side-scrolling is and how everything's pretty much destructive. But this game is just insane with like how it parodies everything. Of course, it's fun. Like, it has a really good replayability, and like traditional Devolver Digital games, these games are bloody as hell. Just so much entertainment, so much fun to be had with this, and it's just a good time. It's got couch play, but it's also got online play. I know that for sure. I play with my buddy online, and we just had a good time playing it. And it's just, the game is fun, but it's like you tend to kind of get a little frustrated with certain things, like being able to jump. I mean, every character has their own certain abilities that allow them to jump further in the game or latch onto things. So I'm pretty bad at it at first, but as I get on with it's actually not as bad as it seems. Definitely love playing as like the Arnold Schwarzenegger type characters, much like Commando, Conan the Barbarian, and of course the Brominator. The Brominator I think is one of my favorite ones because he's just so OP with his fucking Gatling gun. Same thing with Commando though. Commando has his rockets and you just cause so much destruction, and everything starts collapsing within each other. I mean, it's just I heard they have Ellen Ripley, Ellen Bropley or whatever. They have the Bride from Kill Bill, so it's weird how they got females as bros. But I think for this kind of game it works. It's just freaking hilarious, and I love it. Alright, next one is Strafe. This game right here makes me think of Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, Blakestone, Aliens of Gold, just to name a few really classic old school shooter games from back in the day. Game pretty much is procedurally generated, which I think I love it when developers make procedurally generated games because you'll never get the same level twice. So it's interesting to see how the different layouts are. Enemies are fucking fun to kill in this game. They just come at you and you just blow them away, especially when you have a shotgun and whatnot. I think which is like the perfect weapon to use, as well as the railgun. Of course, the game can get a little bit repetitive, but I hear this game is pretty freaking hard. I mean, this is my gameplay here, but like from what I've heard from other players, like some of them haven't really gotten past the first part, and it's actually frustrated people when they kind of gave up on it. Me, I go back from it to time, see if I can like do better. But because there's no familiarity with it, and it's always a new level every time, you kind of have to figure out, okay, where to go, because you gotta collect scrap as you play, and as you collect more scrap, it'll help you able to give yourself more armor and give yourself more ammo and whatnot. The thing is that again, never in the same place, so you'll spend a lot of time fighting enemies off before you can really take a chance to look around, and no point in getting familiar in an area if they're all just gonna if it's all gonna get reset after you die. Again, I have not found a second floor yet. Haven't like made it past some of the first wave stuff, but again, it's really fun. I do enjoy it. I even like the tutorial segment. It makes me think of Alien, Isolation, or just old 80s movies. Really done well. Alright, so this next game, that's actually one of my favorites on this list. Ronin. Pretty much the plot is simple. It's revenge. When this person was a little girl, her father, I guess, was murdered by his cohorts in some, I guess, Japanese Yakuza Mafia type thing. She's older now, and she's exacting revenge. It's actually, like, they don't give you too many details in the story, but there is a little comic in the game, which I think is a nice little bonus. So you get to read kind of like how this person came to be, or at least see their skill set. The game, however, does not play like a traditional stealth hack and slash. Like one of my buddies tried to tell me it was like Mark of the Ninja, but I've played Mark of the Ninja. This doesn't play like Mark of the Ninja, which it's a really awesome game, by the way, but not a Devolver digital title. This game, I mean, it uses kind of like a turn-based type thing. Like, I thought it was really interesting how this one turned out. I mean, at first I was like, oh, it's not like a hack and slash, but the more I play, I'm like, oh shit, this is a real skill-based game. I felt like I was playing like some kind of weird type of board game in some ways, just in terms of like, okay, I gotta look at my moves. It's a big puzzle set, not too much different from Hotline Miami in terms of you gotta look for a way in. Actually, it also makes me think of the game Super Hot, and Super Hot has a similar type of style, but in this game, like, time is moving no matter what, but in Super Hot, when you're moving, time moves, and like you have to look at your scenario, see where things are. Ronin, I mean, it's a really good game. You can actually check and view where the enemies are, come up with a good strategy, and then just go right to town and hack them all up. It's really fun. Really, just an overall good side-scrolling Devolver digital game. Definitely one worth pick up. Alright, finally, the last ones on the list, both Hotline Miami's 1 and 2. Quite possibly my favorite of all these games. Although Serious Sam was really their first outing in Devolver Digital, Hotline Miami is really what put Devolver Digital on the map. I mean, it was such a hot seller at the time. I still remember when I first saw it, though. I had no interest in this game. I kept looking at it. I'm like, this looks kind of dumb. I don't like the perspective. You know, I didn't like how it just, there was a lot of things I didn't like, but I was so close-minded when I first saw it back then. I never even bothered giving it a chance. I saw what is it, Mike Jones on Rooster Teeth doing Rage Quit of it, and I guess that's what really turned me off to it, because he just, the way he was reacting to it kind of resonated with me, and I just didn't want to see it, so I didn't give this game a chance. But Hotline Miami is one of the best games I've ever played. The other reason it's on this list, yes, it is worthy of the whole game jam bit, but what surprises me is the amount of people who don't know what this game is. I mean, I did fan art for the game, which is actually taking quite a bit of notice on my Instagram. A lot of different people like saying, oh my god, they like the work, they like what I have done in my artwork. And we just talked about just how cool Hotline Miami is. And honestly, I'm just really impressed with how the series is. I really wish there was a third one, but at the same time, with how part 2 has ended, I don't see it happening. But we're still getting supposedly a spiritual successor. I forget what the game's called, Midnight something. Gameplay is absolutely the same. Another reason why I'm talking about Hotline Miami is because there's this other game called Mr. Shifty, which takes the gameplay but puts it at a 2.5D type of shit because it's 3D graphics as it looks, but same kind of perspective. They add the whole thing where the guy can teleport. I really don't like it from what I've seen because I saw gameplay and it looks sloppy at best. But Hotline Miami, I really enjoyed it because, I mean, the amount of times I failed while playing this game doesn't help the fact that I still enjoy the satisfaction of winning. The game is just so good. That's why I feel that not enough people know what the game is about. It's such a good game, such a good series. I've done so much fan art for it. I've done one with Jacket with the fans. I've done another one where Jacket is fighting John Wick, only because I like how they crossed over Payday, John Wick, and Hotline Miami into what is an awesome game, which is Payday. Still, there's just so much cool shit about Hotline Miami. I mean, it's a hyper-violent game. Both games really dive into, like, okay, the first game doesn't really dive you too much in the story. The second one does, where they give you a background of each one of the characters that you actually end up running into in the first Hotline Miami. I'm actually, like, I don't know why, but I feel like it could be a Quentin Tarantino film in a lot of ways. I mean, if Quentin Tarantino ever saw this, I don't know, I feel like he probably wouldn't like it, but that's just me. But still, I would like to see, I would like to see a movie on Hotline Miami. I don't care who would, well, it has to be a right director, of course, but that's just wishful thinking. Although I know Devolver Digital also has their own movie studios now. They have their own movie department. So who knows, they might actually make a movie on Hotline Miami, and we'll see how that goes from there. On a final note, I know there's a number of games I still haven't mentioned, like there's Titan Souls, good game as well. If you like that Shadow of the Colossus type feel, same perspective as Hotline Miami, or similar perspective, but it's like pretty much a boss rush mode. The game's hard as shit. That's another thing about Devolver Digital games, they're really tough. Another game I know I missed is Shadow Warrior. Absolutely love Shadow Warrior. I mean, the second one came out. I haven't played that one, but I have beaten the first one. The first one was pretty badass from what I've played. Obviously, they took such great care to get the game to be pretty much like a love letter to old school games that were like that back then. And just to play it was just amazing. 3D Realms really needs to come back. I know that they helped produce the game, but Devolver Digital had a much bigger hand in it as well. I can't really think of any other games, but except for I'm looking forward to Eitor, EITR, which looks like a Dark Souls style game where you play as a Scotswoman fighting in dungeons. Either that or she's a Viking, I don't know, but she looks like she's from Scotland. Red hair and stuff, kind of just dead giveaway right there. Still, I can't think of any other games that are coming out. Oh yeah, Ruiner. Ruiner is another game. That one makes me think of Hotline Miami, because, again, the perspective is the same, but it's 3D-ish in appearance, kind of like Mr. Shifty, but this one has a much darker and gorier looking setting. I mean, I saw the gameplay trailer for it, and all I can think of is I cannot wait to play this one. Anyway, guys, take care. Definitely check out all these Devolver Digital titles, and hopefully I'll see you guys when Absolver comes out. Take care.